Hong Kong, a city once filled with talks of trade and bargaining, are now often occupied by tear gas, gunshots, and screaming. 5 people have ended their own lives so far, and a young lady may lose an eye after being shot with a beanbag round. After the July 21st attack at Yuanlang Station, police charged into train cars, deploying pepper spray and beating their platoons at the Prince Edward Metro Station and several other stations on August 31st, leaving unarmed passengers bleeding from injuries. Among all this, a US-based comic artist is trying to use his paintings to shine a light on some of the brighter moments of the protest in order to help men-wounded hearts and to help people keep up their resistance with courage and rationality. Award-winning artist Guo Jingxiong, or as what most people know him by his artist name Da Xiong, said that inspiration hit when he saw Hong Kong street flooded with 2 million people peacefully demanding democracy on June 16th. He felt that they need something to hold in their hands, so he thought he would sketch something out for them. In clashes with riot police, many at the frontline protesters who are facing tear gas, rubber bullets, and batons are young Hong Kong students.
这个少年志气嘛，这是肯定是有用，少年人有热勇气的。
Da Xiong said that he was moved by the spirit of the youth and the courage of the youth. He chose to make youth a focus in his artwork because they represent a sense of hope. And his paintings were later printed as posters and make their way into the hands of the protesters.
这么多的年轻人，他们这个不断地被打倒，不断地站起来，不断地被打倒。
They were struck down and they stood up, and struck down again and they stood up again. They persisted. I think as an artist, I should show my respect to them.
The young people have the good heart. They fight for keep the good heart.
Da Xiong decided to draw one poster every week to support the Hong Kong people. Da Xiong's message of humanity has a huge impact on protesters. These posters have now been seen at almost every rally by protesters. It is worth noting that Da Xiong's posters resonated with another artist. Ben Li, a sculptor friend of Da Xiong, is now working on turning Da Xiong's comics into sculptures.
看到香港这个新闻之后，我马上就想到是64。
After seeing the news in Hong Kong, I thought of the Tiananmen massacre in 1989. I still remember the statue of the goddess of democracy. Today, I think there should be a sculpture to support Hong Kong. Da Xiong painted a series of comics in supporting Hong Kong. I feel that I should stand with him and make it more powerful.
这动作很有标志性，它是拒绝中共的这种形式。
The crossed arms is a typical gesture used to express protesters' dissatisfaction and mistrust toward the communist regime. Facing such suppression, the strong will of Hong Kong protesters is admirable. I want to make a sculpture which can represent their courage. As an artist, Da Xiong felt compelled to produce works that stood on the side of the righteous. Seeing that they all held my work in hand and chanted the words inscribed on the poster, I felt that I was making an imperceptible impact on their way of expression and their direction. It reminds me to be more prudent in my words and not bring them danger. The message I deliver needs to be even more positive.
我觉得漫画并如果把人画得很丑啊。
There are many different ways to express oneself in comics. Using satire to expose the evil is one commonly seen way, but not the only way. I want to take a more friendly, compassionate approach to praise the good. To only expose evil doings, I think it doesn't look good. It can't inspire the righteous energy and will only escalate the conflict. So I think comic is a way to mend and heal things. And so he did with his follow-up artwork, which shows a protester protecting another from his body against the July 21st attack from pro-Beijing gangsters, and one of two demonstrators helping wash the eyes of a child who was tear-gassed. A young woman wielding a yellow umbrella shells a girl from a torrent of tear gas fired by riot police. This comic, named Hong Kong We Stand, is one of the most popular posters made by Daxiong. Today, the characters on the posters are lifting off the paper and become lifelike sculptures. Ben has dedicated 2 sculptures to Hong Kong in the past months, and he is planning to make the characters on Daxiong's posters into a series of sculptures. I'm hoping that my artwork can affect all ordinary people in China, like the butterfly effect. But it is almost impossible for Chinese people to know the truth, because I found that a lot of information sent to mainland China is reversed. I hope that through the efforts of people all around the world, the Chinese people will eventually know the truth about the protests in Hong Kong.
I'd like to see Hong Kong worked out in a very humanitarian fashion. I hope President Xi can do it.
And so, yes, I do support them, and I will happily speak up for them and back them every inch of the way.
I hope that all the people in mainland China can fight against the persecution of the evil regime collectively, just like people in Hong Kong. I think this will happen sooner or later. The regime of CCP is not only persecuting Chinese people, the same persecution has penetrated into any corner of the world. People all over the world deserve to know this. Artist is responsible for restoring the truth of history. Many people think that political issues have nothing to do with themselves. In fact, it is related to everybody. In human history, the artist must extract the truth and convey it to contemporary and future generations in the form of art. Those art forms are not limited to paintings and sculptures. All artists should play the role of reproducing and recording history.
香港人是很了不起的。
Hong Kong people are terrific. There is nowhere else inside China can be like Hong Kong, where people can fight against the evil regime. Hong Kong is a very precious city. It is indeed the pearl of the Orient. I hope that they can keep fighting for what they believe in, and we will support them together.
我觉得这是个开始。
I think this is just a start. I believe ultimately all the Chinese people will see clearly what the Communist Party is, and it will step down from the stage of history. While living in China, Daxiong created illustrations for many well-known martial arts novelists from Hong Kong, including Jin Yong, Liang Yusheng, and Huang Yi. As a result of working with these famous novelists, he developed what is known as a martial arts spirit. This spirit holds that if you are in trouble, I will come to help rescue you. It is this spirit that Daxiong carries with him, and one of the reasons why he felt obligated to help.
和面对的整个结局的环境，让他
Facing
们
this kind of strange situation, I think the protesters have reached the point where they have nowhere to retreat. But I believe, as the Chinese saying goes, if you confront a person with the danger of death, he will fight to live. Even though Daxiong is quite famous throughout China, he was once arrested and tortured in a Chinese prison for works critical of the Communist Party. He is grateful to now be living in the US, where he can freely express his thoughts and beliefs, something he could not do in China without risking jail or worse. He hopes that his posters will encourage the people of Hong Kong and at the same time help inspire the democratic movement in China. The Chinese Communist Party, as we know, is rooted in violence. What they fear the most is the opposite of violence: truth, calmness, and rationality. The art created by Daxiong and Ben is meticulous and full of positive energy. They believe art comes in many different forms and said that their art is created with one purpose in mind: to change the world.